Annette, I guess I would just be curious to hear what you would describe as sort of the broad takeaways or the applications of polyvagal theory, because we've hit on just the tip of the iceberg for what some of these things can do or say. But if somebody wanted to really dive into this, how can they maybe apply it to their lives?
Really understand. I mean, tonight, like you said, there's so much to this polyvagal theory, our nervous system, and trauma, and all this stuff. I mean, it just everything can kind of once you start learning how things connect with one another, it becomes quite amazing. And for me, even when I started learning all these different pieces, things just started making sense. And once things started making sense to me, then it got me excited. I wanted to try this out. I wanted to work on this and fix this over here and that over there, and everything just started coming together. And that was the exciting part. I love when I see my clients and that happens. They start coming together with all of those pieces, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this was with that. And we talk about how things kind of fit together. And so much of our mental health actually affects our physical health. And we know things like stress and stuff can lead to heart disease and that type of diabetes and things. But a lot of people have no idea that chronic stress actually can be a contributing factor to irritable bowel syndrome and things of that nature. So fibromyalgia was something that is just considered to be, oh, I'm just in pain. Well, you might have some mental stuff going on that's causing that to happen. And once people start figuring out and realizing all the pieces put together, it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know this before? And so I love those moments of aha from my clients. I've had those myself. And so I think the biggest takeaway from tonight really is starting to understand what's going on in your body,
Mm.
with your stress alarms and stuff, and then starting to look into why is those stress alarms going off, and then learning more of what kind of things like grounding or self-regulation or co-regulation, what can I do now to pull myself out when I start slipping. And again, you have to know when you're slipping to know how to get out of slipping. So really tonight I'm hoping that what's the beginning takeaway is for people to start understanding, to start listening to their bodies, start
Mm.
realizing that, you know, what you might think as just your way of life is actually not what's supposed to be happening, was not what you're supposed to be feeling. And and start looking at things a little bit through a different lens, so to speak. And then there's of course reaching out to get help and support. If you don't have anybody that you can reach out and get help and support from, definitely look at different places that you can reach out and get support. There's plenty of counselors and coaches and therapists and stuff that are out there. Find somebody who you feel safe with that is going to work with you to help you. Maybe you just need a little bit of help to where you're able to kind of unravel some of what's in front of you as to why things are happening to you. Why are you feeling a certain way? And I know I'm overly stressed or anxious about something, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to, resolve it or whatnot. So reaching out and getting that help and support, and that support might even be from a really good friend or somebody, of that nature. But there's always, of course, counselors, therapists, and stuff that can also help with some of the bigger things that you might need that support from. In resiliency, one of the things when I'm teaching resiliency is looking for those support systems, whether it be organizations, people, individuals. Support groups are really great, or even not even a support group necessarily, but maybe finding a group that shares your same interests,
Mm.
and being just in that group, you're going to get that social interaction. You're going to get that co-regulation. You're going to start feeling great because you're around people who are all feeling great as well. And again, now your nervous systems are going to start resonating with one another. So I'm hoping people can start looking at things through a different lens. And, and of course, there's other information out there. The internet is filled with things. Dr. Deb Dana has some great stuff. Dr. Porges, there's tons of great literature and information out there to even delve in further. I know when I first started going into trauma work and everything. I mean, I ended up down some rabbit holes that was like, I went into the epigenealogy of trauma even. I mean, there's so much out there, but as a lifelong learner, for me, that's not something new. I constantly learning and reading and getting more knowledge. And the thing about mental health is it takes roughly about 20 years for different theories to be tested out and the different things to be looked at and processed through, and before they're even brought out to the public. So what we might think is something brand new today that we're just now learning, like trauma is something we're just now starting to learn about, this was actually started way back in the 60s and even beyond that. People, coming back from war years and years and years ago were being studied on their PTSD and things of that nature. So, but we're just now starting to hear these words like trauma and things of that nature. So, there's a lot out there and there's a lot more work being done now. And so I just hope people had a chance to hear something that might have sparked an interest to learn a little bit more, dig a little deeper, kind of look at things with their own self and maybe with those others around them. Again, it's not what's wrong with them. It might be something's happened to them, and being able to be in that space to talk about it and, start to unravel that so that, you can start getting better mental health, which is going to become better overall health, better relationships, and so on.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of different books and some different names, Dr. Stephen Porges and Dr. Deb
Mhm.
Dana's, a handful of other really fascinating reads out there, and we'll make sure to have links to some of those in the show notes to this episode. Outside of that, where can people find out more about you and about the things that you offer?
I can be found online. I have a website, eclipselifecoach.com. I also am on Facebook. You can find me there with Eclipse Life Coach, where I post a lot of information. I do a lot of workshops. I have a workshop coming up actually on the nervous system coming up actually in a couple weeks, that's leading into an even bigger workshop. We're going to be doing like a new year, new you, where I'm going to be teaching a month-long workshop for all of January, very interactive and stuff. So it's very exciting. I do see people on a one-on-one basis. I have people who will be with me every week. I have some people who are with me maybe every other week. Depending on what it is that they're needing. Whether it's I'm trying to unravel what's going on emotional with me and kind of getting myself centered, to I'm trying to reach this goal and I keep getting stuck. And what's sticking them is something to do with their past traumas or things of that nature. So I'm kind of able to step in. I'm kind of a best of both worlds, so to speak. I can help you in the coaching, moving you forward with whatever goals and stuff you might want. But I also have the education and background in emotional trauma and counseling, to where I'm able to help support them in that as well.
Mm.
So if something comes up that they're like, this is an emotional trauma issue, I utilize a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy work and things of that nature. So, reach out to me online. I'm great with answering questions. Sometimes people will just email me a quick question and I'm like, I'll shoot them back an answer. We don't necessarily
Why
have to
not?
set up a session, why not? I'm helping out people all the time. I'm on TikTok, not as I don't do so much TikToking, I should say, but I am on there supporting people, and when they're reaching out because they need some support. So I'm all about support. My passion, my purpose, everything is wrapped up in helping people and helping them with their mental health. And I want to see people to be able to regulate themselves and live a happy, healthy life and be able to have good relationships and be able to live in a world to where it's not so scary and they can be well. And that's my pie in the sky thought, but I do know that it's possible. I do it myself. I have countless of clients. I've got over 9,000 hours, client hours under my belt, and I have countless clients all the way from teenagers up to well into seniorhood of adults, that I've been able to help. And it's never, I have to say, it's never too late. Never think that, oh, well, I'm older now and I can't change. This is just the way I've grown up.
Mm.
Hey, I didn't start really taking my mental health seriously until much later in life. And I was that counselor who was helping everybody else out, but I wasn't helping myself.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those
Yeah,
types of
that
things.
resonates just a little bit.
Right? So it's like the old adage of the shoemaker who his kids don't have any shoes. I was the
Mm-hmm.
counselor who was helping everybody out except myself, and I had to start taking my own advice. So I lived what I teach, and I am very open and transparent with all of my clients, as you saw a little bit tonight. I get down in the dirt with them as well. And I always tell my clients, you're lucky I lived a crappy life at times. I've gone through some stuff. So I can, whatever you've going through, or whatever you've gone through, I usually have something that it resonates with me, that I can say, you know what, I maybe not have gone in those shoes, but this is what happened with me, or, and so I can tell them how I was able to help myself and everything. So, reach out to me online, eclipselifecoach.com, and we can go from there.
Yeah, well, and we've talked a lot about community tonight. And V, I know you pointed turquoise towards our Discord server as well as our fan group on Facebook. Where else can people find Secular Sexuality and the ACA online?
Yeah, well, if you are here, you already know how to find our YouTube. But if you want to get in touch with us on Twitter, we are at Secular Sex. If you want to email us for questions or things that you would like clarification on, anything we've talked about tonight or at any other point in time, you can email us at sex@atheist-community.org. We also have a helpline where you can leave us a voicemail that we will play on the episode and answer on air. And that number is 512-666-0ASK. It's 512-666-0275. We are in the process of trying to build another mailbag episode, hopefully for the end of the year. We have a lot of really good questions that came up last mailbag episode over Thanksgiving that we didn't get to last time, but will be included this time. If you have other things you would like us to talk about during that mailbag episode, or just in general, we'd love to hear from you. And that's how you get in touch with us, the hosts. If you would like to get in touch with the community that is surrounding secular sexuality and making it possible every week, you can reach us at the Discord, which is tiny.cc/ACA Discord. There's a lot of conversation happening there. And some nights we'll go and do an after show and just talk with people a little bit. So make sure to check that out. And then we also have a Facebook group that is run by the fans. So this is not an official ACA Facebook group. This is where all of the fans get together and chat about some really awesome topics that our mods put together. And that is facebook.com/groups/secularsexfg. And yeah, you have a myriad number of ways to get in touch with this group and continue this conversation.
Well, I'll add that in addition to your email questions, we would love, as we're wrapping up this year, to hear about your favorite episodes, or maybe your least favorite. If there was a moment from Secular Sexuality this year that you want more of, that you want to talk about again, that you want to never hear anything positive said about, we'd love to hear that as well. But V, I didn't mean to scoop you there. What's next?
Oh, just wanted to make sure we were giving our crew cam a shout out tonight as well before we head out. Our lovely crew.
Incredible cast of folks that help us put this together. Thank you all so much tonight.
Those two circled blue dots are very important. They do a lot here.
Well, we'd love to hear from you in all of these different ways, through the Facebook group, through your emails. We're getting ready for these mailbag episodes and everything else. But for tonight, I'd like to thank V and Annette so much for being here. I'd like to thank the rest of the crew for helping us put this together. And then take a moment to just encourage everybody to go out and give themselves a big old orgasm. Or better yet, Give somebody else one.
one.